Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with a quick fishing report for your weekend outlook. Right now, it's a little cold and so are the fish, and it's all about trying to time your trips around these weather windows to capitalize on these small, narrow windows where fishing is going to be at its best, where these fish are going to be most active. You want to try to time your trips between these fronts. I always tell people this time of year, if you're coming in from out of town, try to plan your fishing trip towards the beginning of your vacation. That way, if you come into town and there's cold fronts happening, you can always reschedule for that weather window. Typically behind the front, before the next one, you get a day or two of nicer weather. And the longer you wait, the more time the water has time to calm down and then clear up. And then a lot of times you'll have some really good fishing that day or 2 days after the last front, before the next one. For example, we just had a pretty big front come in. Things have just finally calmed down. And now today, Friday, things are looking good. It's actually sunny. It's not too bad in the sun. And the wind has calmed down. The water has had a chance to clear up a little bit. And now tomorrow, Saturday, weather's going to pick back up. So today would be a good day and an example of that weather window. Then this weekend, it's going to be a little nasty. Saturday into Sunday, and then it's going to calm down Sunday afternoon. And then Monday's looking pretty good before the weather goes bad again Tuesday. So Monday would be another example of that weather window where you have a chance to capitalize on potentially some better fishing, some better weather, and hopefully some more actively feeding fish. We also have a full moon coming Monday. That full moon will bring with it some more moving water, some more flushing bait, and hopefully some more actively feeding fish. Generally, we see some really good tides around these full moons, so we're hoping for some good moving water and some more cooperative fish. Inshore lately, we've been seeing those cold tolerant species dominate in our report with sheepshead, trout, and redfish. Those are the three most cold tolerant species and generally the most active during this cold front season. We're seeing a lot of sheepshead right now around our docks, our bridges, our jetties, any rock piles, any hard structure with some oysters or barnacles are gonna hold those sheepshead pretty close. Fishing a small chunk of shrimp, a barnacle, a fiddler crab, a sand flea, even cut oysters or cut clams are good ideas for the sheepshead. Minimal weight, smaller hooks, any 15, 20 pound leader. You don't need much, and you want to try to minimize that size of hook and weight to try to present a more naturally occurring bait. You want to try to keep it as close to the structure as possible, and that's going to increase your chance for those sheepshead. Redfish action has been prolific around the area. We're seeing redfish caught along the dock lines here inside Johns Pass, especially at night around those artificial light sources. Around the bridge, jetty, and beaches, we're seeing some of those redfish caught all the way through the back protected bay waters, even to the upper and back bay waters. We're seeing a lot of the redfish. Look for the bait, look for the birds, and you'll find those redfish. Mullet as well is a dead giveaway. There's generally redfish following those schools of mullet as well. Also dock lines, especially around those points, those canals, they come to a point, and a lot of times there's a dock line or two right there that'll hold some of those trout, redfish, and sheepshead. Also, we've been seeing a few snook, but the snook are really far back into the back bay area around those sun-drenched shorelines, wind-protected shorelines, those dark bay mud areas where those snook can find a little bit of a warmer water and they're more active. Trout have been active throughout the area like the redfish. Virtually anywhere you look, you're finding the trout, especially in those little areas adjacent to the flats, like just dock lines. You're finding them on the flats in those potholes and edges. You're finding them around the mangrove shorelines. The trout are really active on the dock lines and bridge lights under those artificial light sources at night as well. We're seeing some whiting out on the beaches, some silver trout on the beaches. We're seeing some bonnethead sharks throughout the whole area, a few black tips as well. Good time to get out there and do some catching for sure inshore. If you can capitalize on those weather windows, take advantage of those wind protected shorelines, deeper areas, those fish are going to hide and try to find some warmer water. Nearshore, we're targeting those hogfish heavily on our nearshore trips. The 10-hour all day is definitely producing some nice hogfish action. We're catching a handful of them on our 5-hour half day. We're seeing a lot of the lane snapper on the 10-hour trips too, a couple on the 5-hour half days, but the lanes are super thick as of late. You got a chance for a red grouper on a 10-hour, not so much on a half day, but we aren't seeing a ton of them near shore. Mostly offshore is where we're seeing those red grouper. The 39-hour, the 12-hour extreme are good trips to target those red grouper, get out there a little deeper. We're seeing those red grouper really well right now with some nice mangrove snapper, a couple muttons, a good number of yellowtail snapper. We're seeing plenty of heads and tails in there like the porgies, the amacos, the vermilions. You got a good chance at the pelagics right now. Blackfin tuna are pretty prolific. We're seeing a couple wahoo, a couple kingfish. You never know. It's a good chance to get out there and do some catching, but you got to capitalize on these weather windows to take advantage. When the weather is nice, the fish are biting, it's a good time to get out there and make some fun in the sun. Hopefully we'll see you out there. Don't forget, Sunday night, every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m., we've got our live show where we give away free fishing trips, answer your questions, talk about weather, and tell you what's going on and what's coming up. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday night for the live show. Every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., we have our Real Animals radio show. Hopefully we'll see you for that too. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Y'all have a great day, a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you out here on the water.